There's more for the bruschetta.
Do what we have Ann Nyberg here among the dolls.
I know. We're actually at this. It's actually kind of a doll, a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
These are dolls that have actually been taken out of abusive homes in the South and are now going up to Canada, where they're going to have safe, quiet homes in the cold.
They're going to Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, Indiana gave us Ann, so we all know where that is all about. So
Yes, I am from Indiana.
I know you
Really,
are.
you would have, based on that conversation, no idea of where we are and what we're doing.
Neither do we, though, ever.
Neither do
So
we.
this is why we're here, because we
That's
don't know
right.
where we are and what we're doing.
But we're so lucky to be in, I'd have to describe this really as Ann Nyberg's passion project, right?
Along with my boutique mate, Francine Piscitelli, and we've put together this little place that's new and old and vintage, and we put a bar right in the middle of it so we could get you guys here.
Yeah, that was what attracted us.
Pretty much we just sort of float to bars.
You know, we've got a GPS that leads us to the closest bar.
Yeah,
Although
and
we're
a wasp,
serving
that's-
spa water.
And we get water.
And basically, for a wasp, the GPS is the nose.
That's exactly
We're
right.
born with it, and it sort of leads us. Do I see gin? Where's the gin?
I sent a martini. Due north.
Dry.
Dry. So thank you for hosting us for our editorial meeting, and I thought it would be good to start with the category House and Home.
Oh.
And this is something that's, as the father of four, you have to kind of find your place in your home. So I wanted to ask everyone how you create a personal space in your home. Or the other part of that question would be, what are the important attributes of a good personal space? Well, it's not the personal space you're thinking about, which I tell you not to violate mine.
Shh, we don't want to go there. I got those off the internet about 4 years ago. I haven't seen them since. But the weird thing is, people don't quite understand that 5% of American homes are actually designed for humans. The other 95% of American homes are designed to sell. So the vast majority of us live in places that were designed for the place we live in, like the site, or our families. So I'm really interested in seeing what makes a home for you. I gave you the architect answer, but let's
go to Tony.
Let's go to Tony.
Yeah.
I think it's all about comfort. I think people are much more aware nowadays than they were even just a few years ago. And you'll notice people are downsizing. These cavernous homes that were so popular 10 years ago are no longer as popular as they were.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great point.
People are much more into really doing smaller homes that are comfortable and human scale and using better finishes in their home instead of just having a large, vast amount of space that's not being used.
Well, now I want to go over here because Eileen has been carrying on this passionate love affair with her husband, and
I think so.
I get the most wonderful emails from you, and you just sing his praises.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I was very lucky. My mother-in-law really trained him well. I was, cream of the crop. Seriously.
But the question I wanted to
well,
ask was,
listen-
do you feel the need, the two of you, to carve out your own spaces in your home?
Oh, we do. We have our own space. I have my den, which I call my cave.
Your woman cave.
The Eileen cave.
The Eileen cave.
Yes, which I developed after I was recovering from breast cancer surgery. And when everybody really wants to find me, they know I'm in the den, wrapped up like a cigar on the couch in my cave.
So swaddling clothes.
Just about.
But what happened to the venerated den of the days of yore? Remember, everybody had a
It's not all about you,
den.
Bruce, and it's not all about men. She gets it.
Yeah,
That's her safe place. And when you want to hunker down and be by yourself, and to your what you said, Tony, is that I think after 9/11, people started to nest. Right. After the crash in 2008, the fall of 2008, everything got a little bit simpler. People didn't need as much, and we figured that out, that I've got all this stuff. I don't need this anymore. I need good friends. I need good food. I need a space that I have things that I love in it. And
What's where's your space? Where does Ann Nyberg go?
one of them is right here.
In your home, though. In your home.
At home, it's kind of everywhere, because in my house, everything that I have in there, it's stuff that I've collected, or it's things from my children.
But Ann, your house was designed for you. You had an architect, and your house is a custom designed house, which is unlike so many people that live in a box that is anonymous, which I think, Francine, if I know what you do, you actually take anonymous boxes and make them into special places. Am I right about that?
And so, how about for you? What's the key element to make to take someone and have a personalized space for them?
Where do you go to hide when you're like, you know what? I just
yeah, and that's kind of the question.
Usually it's my bedroom because it's I have TV there and I can do whatever I want. I can read, I can write things, and then I leave everybody downstairs and they can watch their sports.
But she's a night owl. She and I will talk sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I know this because my daughter just worked with her because she was doing hair and makeup and whatnot, and Fran is a night owl. So part of what she does is in her space, it's when the house is really quiet, wherever you are.
That's the thing,
I
at
just
night.
had a little
At
innovation.
night.
Maybe you could come up with something where you could hang upside down for those bat leg.
Blood rush.
What was that?
A bat room.
It's a bat room.
Blood rushes to your head. You begin to sort of have these weird fantasies and things.
That's very soothing.
No, it's not soothing.
I just came across an article on the web last week that led me to take the Myers-Briggs test.
Oh,
Has
great.
anybody ever done that? What? You don't like the Myers-Briggs?
Well, I love the Myers-Briggs in a way, but it's so bizarrely screedy.
Wait.
Do you guys know what the Myers-Briggs? We should explain.
Let me give you a quick short. The Myers-Briggs test was developed in the 1950s, and it was actually inflicted upon me by a psychotherapist, best friend of Allison Clarkson's dad.
Okay.
Who is Allison Clarkson's dad?
We share
Fellow friend
in our Buffalo background. The real people that have listened to this show will know that we share a common background in the place called Buffalo, New York.
Park School
Buffalo. But it basically uses these seemingly objective questions. They are kind of objective to actually not only suss out your personality traits, but your actual interests that would lead to a vocation or an avocation. So it actually susses out how you sort of are geared towards. Like it might say to you that you're very verbal, you're very visual.
Well, let me give you mine.
Okay.
I am an ENFJ, extroverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. ENFJs are people-focused individuals. They live in the world of people possibilities. More so than any other type, they have excellent people skills. I should hope so. They understand and care about people and have a special talent for bringing out the best in others. ENFJ's main interest in life is giving love, support, and a good time to other people. They are focused on understanding, supporting, and encouraging others. They make things happen for people and get their best personal satisfaction from this. So I read this about myself, and these were things I think I didn't even understand about myself. And then I started to think about what we've been doing on this show for almost a year now, and it's been talking about the way if we want to live a good and fulfilling life, one of the things you've got to know is you got to know about yourself, and then you've got to be able to know that person so you can know if and how you want to change. So that was the reason for asking the question, has anybody, taken it? I think it was interesting that Duo, you knew a little about it.
And I have a very funny story. So my roommate in college and I made me look like a normal person. My roommate in college had the wonderful name, and Stu, if you're out there, I love you. His name is Stu Shunk. And Stu Shunk looked literally like the picture that you would have of the Cro-Magnon man. He had the very large brow ridge, huge shoulders, and he was this. We were both old football players, and we were the sort of terrors of the Cornell Architecture School class of 1977. So he stays in touch with me. I actually hook him up with his now ex-wife. She loves me for that, and not so good. And he goes for this interview, 2-day interview in Colorado for a huge construction company. He's an architecture major, and the construction business loves him. They go from site to site. Oh, you're the greatest. And they come to the exit interview with the main guy. So there's just one last thing, Stu. We have to give you this test, this Myers-Briggs test. He takes the test and he says, "Will you come back and we'll talk about your contract after you take the test the next day?" He comes back and he walks in, and the guy has this incredibly stone cold look at his face, like somebody died. And he goes, "Well, so let's get the contract out." And the boss goes, "Stu, the test came back. It basically says that you're a self-absorbed sociopath." And Stu goes, "Good test."
Is there a section? Is that a personality type?
Probably.
So what's your question? What do you ask?
So the question is really, how do you make an honest assessment of yourself and others? What are your criteria for judging yourself and other people?
I don't know about you.
Francine?
Yeah.
I don't like to judge other people. on their looks or what they do. I like
Thank
to, yeah, I like to
That's
talk
why
to
she's
them.
getting along well with us.
Exactly.
I don't like judging. I like to really know someone before I can judge
How about
them.
yourself? And I guess maybe judge is a bad word, but it's how
Evaluate.
do you make an honest assessment?
Don't you think it's gut?
Yeah, where do you get that?
My
And for yourself?
Intuition.
Yeah,
Intuition.
really?
Intuition. I pretty much know someone right off the bat, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt if I
See, because
feel-
this is why I ask, because I think with this Myers-Briggs thing, you find out stuff about yourself that you don't know, and I think potentially, and I think it's a bad use of it to use it as a tool for picking somebody for a
It's
job.
really bad, because with
But I think it's really good for, you know what I'm going to do? I just took this myself. I'm going to have my whole family take
Yes,
it.
yes. No.
Just because I think I'm now understanding the way I work better, and if I understand each of them better, I think that's a big help.
But I think all of us are born with, a way to rule out people that make us feel uncomfortable, or that, as Francine said, judging others. I don't need a test to do any of that. You can see a person that you're not going to want to spend time with a mile away, and you develop this gut. I think. As
So
a
you're
small
just
kid.
all instinct.
Absolutely.
Instinct. Eileen?
If I feel negative karma, I put my bubble on because I just don't want to deal with negativity. You have to become really strong emotionally and mentally after you've gone through a disease. And if anybody says something negative, I either turn it into a positive or turn them off because I don't want them busting into my positive approach and my focus.
Interesting.
Do you think that's true, Tony?
Tony?
I totally think, and I think that's very true. But don't you find that also as you get older, your tolerance really goes?
No, I don't.
Of course you know. It's like
It's true, because you develop
It's like,
gut.
okay, you've got 15 seconds.
Right.
Are you nice? Go. And then, no, okay, I'm out of here.
Right.
Dance, cowboy.
It's kind of like speed dating in a way, I guess.
That
You
is
know.
so funny, isn't it?
with the market.
But I did read somewhere, I guess you can make we just have this innate ability, exactly as you were saying, Francine, to judge people. That book, Blink, you can, we have a way of kind of knowing very quickly what something is all about.
Yeah, and I actually think the older I've gotten in doing the thing that I do, which is construction, I'm actually able to hear clue words that a contractor would use or a potential client would use or a client would use, and I kind of hear the background of several hundred jobs in the back of my head, making associations and forming shortcuts to not conclusions but to senses of where directions are going, positive, negative. And it's interesting how the number of people that contact me to get work as an architect has probably gone down a little bit, but the number of jobs has gone up because as I've gotten to know myself better, I project more who I am, and I can read people better when I meet them. So there's this weird thing, the older you get, the more you're getting it right, and then you're closer to death and it all's meaningless anyway. So why don't you settle yourself down?
Age is just a number. So someone said to me, we were celebrating someone's birthday and it was a big women's thing. So I said, I'm 67 and 6 plus 7 is 13, and I act my age. And,
Thank you very much.
Tip your waitress.
Yoo-hoo. And then I said to a woman whose birthday it was, I said, how old are you? And she looked at me and said, 55. And my little brain said, oh, yes.
That is an interesting phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
What you've got to embrace this stuff. I am, I am happy to say I was born in 1957.
It was just-
you got to own
It was
it.
very funny.
But people do judge you on how old you are.
Definitely.
And
They do.
even if they don't see you, like let's say myself, I've been doing hair for 32 years. If I were to go and apply for a job and say, I've been a hairdresser for 32 years, and you don't see me or you don't know me, well, how old do you think I would be?
I would say
without
there was
looking
no
at me?
way you could do training in that period of time.
You know what,
and
I was 18 when I started. I was 16 when I started doing hair. I was 18 when I started working. So I've been doing hair for 32 years. But if you think of that as not looking at the person and just looking at their job application, you're thinking, oh, she's probably in her 60s.
But is that a United
You know,
States
so
thing?
they
Because
judge you.
Francine is from Italy. Do you think that they judge as much in European
Italy? No.
countries? See, there you go.
Really?
So here we go with the United
I was born
States.
in Italy, so-
If you're past 50, you know nothing, you're invisible, you don't count. that's when you know stuff.
Yeah.
You know a
Right.
lot of stuff. You have
Life
a lot of
experience.
connections.
That's right. I figure I'm just starting to figure it out. I'm just getting a handle on
I
it.
think Italy has it all over Brazil, because a friend of mine spent 3 years in Brazil, and they said everybody judges everybody by the shape and size of their booty.
Well, that's Brazil.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't this interesting?
Yeah, so booty is big in Brazil, or small, but whatever it is, you're being judged by it.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you're half Brazilian and half American, you'd be judging the booty.
Yeah.
I just like saying
We do
judge
a
the
lot of
booty.
work.
I don't know what it
Women
is.
are-
America
And they also
is
look-
very
Yeah.
breasty.
What's that?
America is very breasty.
It is breasty.
Don't you think all cultures are? I mean, look at
No,
I really,
Brazil
I
is
think
a-
I'm seeing a bumper sticker right there.
My friend said you could have the most incredible face, rest of the body, but
Your
all,
friend's man, your
all-
friend's
my friend's
woman.
a man, and he says that all the Brazilian men, as great-looking women walk by them, they all turn their head and look down, because that is how they're judging women, is by their backside. No jive.
Really?
You know,
That
Brazil
is-
should.
In Brazil, Brazilian.
Duo really shouldn't know all of this.
You really, he's got his brain. If we could go in there and have a look at it, I think we would run screaming into the rain right now. He's a Francine.
Well, in Brazil, they're really into beauty.
they are.
My daughter is Miss Connecticut USA, and she's going to be competing in June for Miss USA. So the Miss Universe, Miss, all that. Brazil is like big into
Freaky.
they do plastic surgery
At
as
18.
Wow.
as
Oh, so
children.
now this
I mean,
makes me think of an interesting topic all of a
crazy.
sudden. How do you communicate the right body image ideals to your children?
me, myself.
Everybody. We all just talk
they looked
about
at me and
this
they saw
stuff.
what not to look like. So that's the negative.
How do you
one.
do that now? And I guess it's specifically with young women.
Yes,
and it
that's-
sounds like your daughter's not having a tough time in that category. but-
I try to tell my children, both my son and my 2 girls, that you have to have inner beauty, not just outer beauty.
And I guess it doesn't hurt if you're smoking hot also.
That's true.
Is the
But,
thing. And how about you? What have you? There's another family of
they're
unattractive.
Oh my God, this is so unfair. It's
really
like going into an NFL team and saying, like, "Hey, you guys want to go out for a run?"
But see, listen. I think you have that all wrong. In that, I just think, and you can't judge people, and you can really have a gorgeous girl or a gorgeous guy, and you don't want to have a cup of coffee
Right.
with them.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
I mean, to be attracted just to that makes me crazy. That's just wrong. What do you do? Who do you know? What skills do you have? I want to know about you. Now, maybe that's really rare, but
So
as a
you
reporter
stress that to your daughters, and then they're not
Absolute-
thinking about their body and am I all
Absolutely.
perfect?
You
And
know,
because I think that's a big problem
who's
that young women
perfect?
have.
Nobody is.
But don't you think a lot of women think they have to be?
Listen,
they'll be happier if they were.
No, listen, I think Madison Avenue, primarily run by men,
Yeah.
tell us what should be perfect. If you look at an 18-year-old on a magazine, they're airbrushed already.
Big time.
This is sick. I mean, it is not right.
So so I guess how do you stop that? How do you? How,
It's at home. You stop it
So
at
that's why,
home.
but that's why I'm asking the
Yes.
question. How do we impart these messages to our children? Because I think it's so important.
I don't know. As a man, I have a very hard time with. I have a lot of younger women that work for me, and they seem to be obsessed with being this unrealistic size. So I'm not sure when being a size negative or a size 2 became the right size to be. I never knew
Which
any
is
women
really-
that size
And
growing
does that
up.
But
make
it's
you
really an
happy if
8
you achieve
anyway.
It makes me
that?
uncomfortable to
chopped
see
it
that.
down.
Yeah,
It's
to see these are, yes.
It's really an 8 or a
Eileen.
10.
That's why we're
Eileen thinks that it doesn't really matter what your body is like because I am missing parts. So I think it takes in your personality, how you present yourself, your intellect. It's a whole bunch of stuff other than your body.
And I will say this, I've said this before in the show, and it's actually true. One of the really incredibly important things about kids growing up is realizing that all that other stuff that surrounds you is stuff. And when kids can get involved in something like music or theater or athletics, where what you look like means zero. It's what you're doing and how committed you are.
But we don't pay them. We pay.
No, that's
we
you know
pay
who
the
gets paid for
football
that?
players.
People in radio.
But really, radio has died. That's wrong.
I've got a face for radio, is what I'm telling you.
No,
Ann
but what I'm
Nyberg.
saying is we don't.
Yeah, I got a hat on the vineyard.
Getting back to your question, I think all of us have friends and or couples, whatever, where we like one spouse maybe a little better than the other. But if you really don't like that spouse, I don't think you're
hard.
spending any time with the other one unless you just meet them alone, because life is short.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Doesn't work, Tony?
I mean,
No.
Well, I agree with you, Ann. If there's a one spouse or a partner that you don't really like, you would tend not to get together with them as a couple.
So you, Eileen, you just think
one-on-one.
it just what you go
Well,
one-on-one.
last night there was a big party, and I really wanted to be at this particular party. And Arnie said, "Oh, I really don't want to go. I don't want to go, Eileen." I said, "Okay, you don't have to."
See? Look at her.
So I said, "Okay." So
you were
I
unsupervised.
I went.
You were unescorted.
I was unescorted. I went. I met all the people there that I knew, which he didn't know.
By the way, if you ever need a beard, I'd be happy to do it.
Especially if there's alcohol.
And I went. I had a wonderful time, and
See?
he had a wonderful time at home watching television.
but that's okay.
Did you go to the
That's
after
fine,
party?
absolutely.
That's where
I
the fun really
partied. I
happens.
party
That's
all the
beautiful.
time.
We're going out later. Come on.
Well, I think it really it makes a difference in how important that person is to you,
Exactly.
because it could be a family member.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? Like,
You're locked
so
in.
you have to.
That's the tough one.
It all
Yeah.
depends on the person that you are friends with and how important they are to you. If they're
Exactly.
really important, you have to deal with that person.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm not going to go out with you, or I can only
Right.
have you and not your...
Oh, never.
You
No.
can't.
No,
that's
So
the end
it
of it.
depends on the person.
Family's different.
And
You're
you know
right.
what?
So then you need to
know.
become the diplomat, right?
Right.
You've
Yeah.
got to
Yeah, right.
become like
Sometimes you just-
yeah.
you got to become like Hillary Clinton, which means go to Colombia and have a beer.
But sometimes you just got to suck it up.
Yeah. No, that's right. And I do think that is. Sometimes it's just, and then to what extent are you willing to kind of put your feelings aside to make the moment happen, I guess.
Well, repeated bad behavior, though, I won't be around.
Mm,
Especially people who are judging, or I don't like this person or that person, and it's a constant. I don't. Life is too short. I just don't have time for that.
You're out.
You know, that's actually, we're talking about getting older. You know, one of the things about getting older is you realize that, as my wife says, you're in the return flight home. And basically, as you see the fact that you...
Wait, give me that again.
We're all on the, like she and I are on the return flight home.
Sad.
Ann's like, do I call my travel agent? What is,
It's called church. That's what you call your travel agent. Hey, buddy, how much Quanta
That's
Timo?
negative in my
Let's-
bubble.
Yeah.
called church. Or your travel agent called and
Your flight's leaving.
I hope the flight's boarding. I hope we're not boarding now.
We don't have a round trip.
Oh, and sorry about that, but we do land and you get off.
Yeah, no, see, no, we're just emerging. There's no return flight. Oh,
I'm getting on Ann's plane.
Ann's got a more of a happy clappy. I think she's actually going to go to Disneyland. I'm going to go to Purgatory.
And the good news is your trip. The good news is your ticket to Purgatory is probably a lot less expensive.
but see, but I guess that's, you know what, but what that says is make every day count.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, because more and more critical every single day that you are on that flight home.
But you do live with urgency when you get to a certain age.
Yes.
You do start to live with urgency.
Do any of you find that like there seems to be a real return to...
Hang on, start that again. What was that?
Does anyone here find that like people raising children now have gone right back to an earlier age as far as being very strict and conservative with their children? Because there seems to be like a whole generation of people who didn't actually parent and their children were wild animals.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
that would be
see
me.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
I think there's a boomerang effect where especially in towns where we all are, you know, Madison, where the parents live their lives through their children, because a lot of them were brought up by madmen parents that basically were just totally checked out. I remember the first time I heard, what's her name, the Draper, what's her first, the wife, anyway.
January Jones.
January Jones, who is her. The Mrs.
Oh, now I'm going nuts here. Don Draper's
And
married.
Peggy Draper?
Yeah,
No.
I don't know.
No, Betty
yeah.
Draper.
So let's start over again.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time that I saw Betty Draper, as the kids are coming in, and you know Don's probably been having some illicit something with somebody. She looks at them out of the corner eye and she says, "Go play." And that was her parenting for the day.
Yeah.
Go play.
It is interesting, and the line that I always, the other one is, it's go play or go watch TV.
Well, that meant
and
that. Yeah.
that was me. I mean, you know, I grew up watching that TV. Ann Nyberg, you should be very happy that's the case.
Well, there you go.
I got hooked
the hot
early.
levels were great.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Which
but
actually
it's-
has weird meaning because what they're doing now is they're kind of trying to solve the Eton Pates case, and that was long enough ago that I think that became this complete dark side to what is actually a new movement now called free range children, which says that children should be allowed to be free and to express themselves, and Eton Pates should walk the 1 block to his bus and get picked up by a sociopath and killed. And that's the sort of boomerang effect that I think parents have when something like Eton Pates happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a tough question these days, and there are no easy answers.
No.
Favorite
cash and
gift
career.
ideas for these kinds of holidays?
I was actually tasked to get a gift from here for a mutual friend's birthday, and so I would say go to Venetucci Home and you could basically get
Very
anything you
good.
want.
Yeah, there, you know how to work a room.
So what do I
don't
get?
you? I think you've just got that gift covered. Yeah, we're here in the Annie Mame. This is so cool. You've got a little boutique within Venetucci Home, and so Annie, what do you suggest for a great little graduation or wedding, bar mitzvah?
You have to know the person. So whatever the person is about, you have to give a gift that would be about them. I would always say vintage, but many people are not into vintage. But I would just, you have to, and what's great about vintage, I have dolls. I have lots of dolls.
So, oh, by the way, her dolls look like a Benetton ad. There's every single nationality, race. It's amazing.
Anne is very diverse.
We are the dolls. We are the children.
But you know what's great about Venetucci Home and why I am here, and Francine can tell you why she is here, is that there's a philanthropy base here to events that are going to happen. This is kind of, to me, the old-fashioned department store that I miss so much in
You're right.
downtown areas.
You're right.
And it's all kinds of things that you're not going to find anywhere. And it's not just a commercial. I don't have to be here. I wanted to be here because I wanted to be on the ground floor of a rebuilding of retail and a rebuilding of connecting with other people who have small business that are trying to help each other go forward. And to me, this is just delightful, and it's moving in the right direction for the right reasons for Connecticut.
And sorry. So that is wonderful. I love that.
But you can ask Francine why she's here and why he started this.
Well, yeah, I wanted to do that kind of in a separate segment,
Okay.
actually. But for this time, I really want to keep on that theme of taking these, I love what you said, Anne, about getting to know the person. I think sometimes it's hard if it's like a graduation, you're like, okay, what's the kid
Money,
like?
they want money.
They want
Take
money.
from today. What was the theme?
The theme is, I think, being open. And being an open person and being able to make decisions about things that come into your life on a moment's basis, and you have to do this, but you don't want to, you can do that. And I think that's a very important thing that you have to live with, that you have to sort of like categorize things and prioritize things and make things important for you, your family, your friends, and doing what you do.
Awesome. Tony.
I think surround yourself with people you really truly like and respect, and will help you to grow and be creative. And you don't know how long you're at the party for, so enjoy it.
That's awesome, and that's really what you guys are doing here. Yeah.
It's the art of conversation. The art of conversation is being lost because we're spending so much time on websites and Facebook and Twitter. And not that I don't do all of that, I do, because it networks and connects you to these people. But I love this because it's just a conversation. It's a conversation, and you take all kinds of things away from this. So I would say the takeaway is the art of conversation. Don't lose it, and teach it to the young.
Awesome. Francine.
For me, it's just about being in a happy place, and whether it's here or within yourself and who you associate with, but just being happy and forget about all the, troubles that are in the world and, all those things, and try to be happy of what you're doing, where you are at the time, and make the best of it. That's what I.
To me, it's just about time. I mean, with the passage of time, things become much clearer. And I don't know about any of you guys, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was completely confused by all the options that were there. I didn't know who I really liked and didn't like. I just spent time with people in a way that was pretty unthinking. I think when you get older, you've been there, done that so many times that you end up finding this incredible value when you know you can connect with a career, with a gift for a friend, with creating a new business like this one. That time is this thing that distills who you are. It's a crucible of your emotional core that allows you to reach out.
Beautiful. Well, so we are here in the presence of incredible furnishings, beautiful women,
Free food.
free food. It's got to be a taping of the Real Life Survival Guide.
We just come into places, demand free stuff, and talk.
So this is Venetucci Home, and that is Ann Nyberg. She was our host, along with Tony Venetucci and Francine Piscitelli, and we had a great time, and we hope that you will listen.
Please.
RealLifeSurvivalGuide.com.
Yeah, it was great. You know,